I just would like to say, first of all, that the negative rhetoric that we are using towards each other is not very helpful. So we have to be harmonious. And let me say, those who aspire, even one Somalia like myself, should be proud about what Somaliland did for all of us. They did a great job, and we have to be grateful. Coming to the political process, Robin, I think the one thing which international community overlooked is the Somali public. They completely disillusioned and lost the trust of international community. They really completely lost the trust of international community. So in order to achieve a political, economic, and the security development, you have to take the people with you. And you have to go, you got a very, very monumental work to do in order to take the public, Somali public with you. In relation to the technical aspects of the political process and what kind of government that we would like to see after the TFG, I think the young man in the front did a great bullet points. I think we would like to see a civil service-driven government rather than, yes, the political solution is a very helpful, but we need administrative and institutions based from the bottom.
Thank you.
Thank the British government for initiating this conference, and I hope you are not cut and run when the goings get tough, like Americans did. That's one thing. And the other thing is, I would like to say one point to my friends from Somalia who were portraying Somaliland as a heaven, democratic heaven, but this moment you are speaking, Somaliland killing machines are in Buhodle town. This is the third time this year they have attacked in that area, and over 60 civilians lost their lives. In that area, I think Sol Sanag and in regions of Somalia are bridge between Puntland and Somaliland. It's bridge between Somalia and Somaliland, and therefore it is important that people to live in peace and that area to be kept in peace in any future reintegration of Somalia. Okay. That's one point. The other thing is, I'm asking the minister, can you at your capacity convince Somaliland to pull out its troops from that area so that people can decide their fate. They have their fundamental rights, the right to self-determination. They don't want to be part of Somaliland. They want to be part of bigger Somalia. And it's the best interest of all interested parties, Somalia to be united and to be one Somalia country. As for representation or constituent representative, I'm thinking it would be a good idea where there is an administration, they have to select their own representatives. Where there is no administration, it has to go down at this moment to the traditional leaders and elders to select those who are supposed to represent the forthcoming constituent assembly. Thank you very much.
Not selecting themselves, but selecting others, you mean?
Sure, yeah, that's what I meant.
I think this point came up in some of the earlier discussion. Please, yep. And then I'm going to do the row that I feels been abandoned, which is the row at the back of the middle, exactly. I've done the back of the room, but I've done the middle. Yeah.
Let me start with the
question is to Henry Bellingham, who said that Somaliland agenda is not on Somaliland issue is not on the agenda. It is an issue for the Somalis. Somalia is divided into three parts: South Somalia, middle regions of Somalia, and north of Somalia. Somaliland has been occupying the regions of Sol and Sanag and Ain, which are part of Somaliland. And also 70% of your funding actually goes to Somaliland. And it means that it has not, all these funds have not been monitored. And as my previous colleague also mentioned, there are daily violations on human rights, and people have been killed. Nearly 40 or 30% of Dadaab people actually flee from Sol and Sanag and Ain regions. Many injured people in the past 2 months. They have been taken to Galkayo and Garowe hospitals, and that's an issue. And Somaliland issue is they have to come on the table and not around the table all the time. They have to discuss about these issues if they want to join the rest of Somalia.
Thank you. Could you pass the microphone?
Somalilanders. I came from all the region of Somaliland. Clearly, the problem of Somalia is tribalism. We are tribes striving. Everyone wants to grab the land of the other tribe. And everyone wants to advance. It is their tribe. Clearly, all the four gentlemen who were before me and who were talking about Somaliland are Somalilanders, but they are from one tribe. And I am from another tribe. Somaliland is relatively stable. It's my country. I have been there for the last year, before the last year and a half. I was teaching universities, both Hargeisa and Amud, as a law professor. International law, Somaliland is claiming independence because it's relatively stable. The last months, some of the tribes are at willingly killed in Somaliland. My tribe, 4 died last time, and when they were shot, then they were cut into pieces. And this is the 4th time that kind of a thing happened. If Britain, actually, as an Awdal people, we were the door that the British colonists came in. We were the only civilized area at that time. And now we are the victims. Here, we're sliding back. We had a legal agreement with Britain, which is still pending, and which Britain has real to honor. But I'm not talking about that one. I'm talking about only one thing. Somali, all these diaspora people, every one of us will advance his own tribe or her own tribe. Okay. What I am saying is, I'm finalizing it. What I'm saying is, we have to look Somalia, the last 18 regions of the country. The country was divided into 18 regions. Every region must be autonomous from the other one, and every tribe must be really free from the other one.
I can see the Constituent Assembly is going to get very difficult under these circumstances.
Yes.
Okay, Okay. Please, shh. Again, I've got, just so you know, I have 16 names. I have 16 people I'm being calling on. As people know at Chatham House, I'm quite rigorous about getting to everyone, okay? And we have plenty of time. Please be patient. Just because you've caught my eye many times doesn't mean you were the first person to catch my eye. And I'm going to go by I've written them down. I've got little numbers under each person here, so just give me a chance to get there. Number 5 was the gentleman here. Microphone coming. I hope, if I can just say before you speak, I hope we can please stick to this issue. We're coming up in August to the end of the transitional federal government. We really need to think about how this process is going to be undertaken, how you're going to make sure that Constituent Assembly can be legitimate, how it can be effective. So I hope we can really address that issue right now. I think we've touched the Somaliland issue plenty so far. We'll get to these answers at the end.
Thank you very much we have been ignored for a long time, so I'm very grateful. Your Excellency, we are deeply grateful to the British government for this consultation. As my colleague said, this is a consultation for us to tell the British government what we want to do. We should not be bogged down on details or grievances which will be dealt with later on. As the elder said, we cannot ignore the past, but we also need to unite the people, and we cannot do that if we are continuously saying grievances. We can take South Africa as an example. They have succeeded. There has been hideous crimes in the past, but they have succeeded because they have wise men and women who went on forward I do want to hear from the British government that our borders will be secured, especially the south. There are rumors and suspicions about Kenya's intentions, and I do want to have a reassurance that our borders are protected, water, territorial water, and land. I want to add that in order to put Somalia back together, you will need a massive aid program, development program. We need this to be the aim. We don't want to be bogged down on details at the moment. The details can be worked out later. The Somali forces. I think the Somali forces will have to be trained properly. We will need, like in the 1950s, forces trained in the developing world, the developed world. And you can't have former common criminals or as an army officer. You can't. You have to have proper army. We need training programs for the army, for the police, and for the civil servant. This is the task before you and before us. We will need scholarships. There has been a brain drainage in Somalia. The elders, the wise people, the people who brought Somalia to independence, they are not consulted. Please invite them. Now, lastly, Somalia is one nation, indivisible.
That's right.
No one can put, there are not two Somalis, there are not two, they are one nation, one people, we want to be united. Please do not give any encouragement to secession. Thank you.
Okay. No, well, that...
Al-Shabaab. I think I agree with my colleagues. The engagement will be better because we know there are foreign forces there. There are Somalis. We have elders who can talk to them. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, look, the gentleman here is going to make a statement, and after that, we're going to have literally just the last 2 or 3 minutes, because I've got to give time to Tim Hitchens and Minister Bellingham to speak. So I'm going to get a couple more, but I'm only going with the people. There are some people who are putting their hands up now or in the last 5 minutes. I'm sorry, I won't get to you. Yep, please.
Awais Mahmoud.
You have waited, so
yes,
you have. I'm not going to rush you.
My comments will be limited to the internal issues, not to Ethiopia or Kenya or this.
Okay, as long as they're quick.
Yes. What it is the initiative of the British government is to be welcomed. We have seen, indeed, and heard from Secretary Haig and the passion and the energy with which he spoke. And I'm sure that all the diaspora share my sentiment that we are...
I am a British Somali author and peace activist. Really, it is very, very hard to be optimistic. And what I know is that one of the few attempts that the international community has made, and as I was there back in Mogadishu, has failed. Are you ready or are you prepared to fail again? You are doing your best, I know, but are you ready to fail? Because this is the views and this is the ridiculous ideas that we have in mind, saying, and this is me in that region and this is me. We are divided and we want to be united again. And the other thing that I would like to say is, I'm going to say something about the piracy. And now, I don't know how you get that information, but the piracy are now making their profits to invest in more sophisticated weaponry, making themselves even greater threat, not only for the Somali people, but you not only for the Somali people, but the whole nation, or otherwise international and internationally. So what I'm going to say is that the coming conference in 23rd of February, and the Somalis and the international community should agree that the pirates are criminals, of course, And the Somali pirates should be dealt like any other violent criminalist who is responsible for criminals that for crimes should and those responsible for the crimes should be punished and stopped from committing any future acts on piracy. And my last point is that and as far as you know, we had as a Somalis an extremely brutal, ruthless, cruel, savage, remorseless, and ill-famed and notorious warlords. And now we have Al-Shabaab and 550 and the so-called Somali parliament who wanted to hold Somalis as hostage. And what I'm saying is that this is the time that the government, the United Kingdom, or otherwise the international community, should look after us as we need peace and stability back home. And the thing is that, one last thing, I mean, Al-Shabaab is a threat not only for Somalis. There is many Somalis from America or otherwise, even going from Britain back to Somalia, and they will be coming back here, and London will not be safe. Not only London, the United Kingdom will not be safe. So you want us to save us, and you save your lives. Thank you.
Okay, can I just make a point here? As I said at the beginning, we're going to talk initially, if we can, please, about the political process. We have plenty of time. I'm setting lots of time aside to talk about the security, the piracy, the Al-Shabaab side. But if we can try and do them in some organized, otherwise we're just going to get lots of different comments all coming randomly through the course of the afternoon. We will keep your points, sir, and we will address them in a minute. But I want to stay back, if I can right now, on the issue of the political transition. We have a very small window between now and August, yes? And some of the very interesting discussion I heard earlier this morning that Tim was part of as well, is how do you use this period? Is this Constituent Assembly simply going to be a rubber stamp? Is it going to have the time to be able to think through the transition to an executive branch that was discussed by the Foreign Secretary? Can we please focus on those issues for a while if I can? Please, exactly, second gentleman here, no, then I'll come to you afterwards, sir. First in the front row, and then behind. First in the front row, yeah. Yeah, and then to you, sir, second, yeah.
I would like to say thank you for British government